Hello everyone and welcome back to Xbox Nation. My name is Fletcher and this is the video where we take a look at the upcoming games for this week and to see if any of them are worth your time and or money. This week is pretty strong though when it does come to Xbox Game Pass offerings and even includes Xbox first party title, which I'm extremely hyped for. With that though, let's dive right into the games coming our way for this week. First up, we have a game that launched last week for Gold Edition owners, but is now landing on the 15th of October. For any of you who want to dive into the standard edition of NASCAR 25, it finally drops this week. The wait for a true next-gen NASCAR experience is finally over, and after years of players joking that the most exciting thing in a NASCAR game was trying not to fall asleep on a long green flag run, the gameplay showings of NASCAR 25 have me quite intrigued. I will be honest, I have no clue how NASCAR works other than driving around in circles, but I know many of you in the States really love this sport. It has received some quite good reviews across the board so far, which is great to see, and it looks as though it's a solid pickup for all of you fans of the NASCAR experience. Halloween is just around the corner, and this week the casting of Frank Stone is creeping onto Xbox Game Pass and is perfect for all of you horror fans. This one though is set in the chilling universe of Dead by Daylight, but this brand new title combines cinematic storytelling with tense choice-driven gameplay where every decision will really matter. In the haunting town of Cedar Hills, you'll dig into the horrifying legacy of Frank Stone, a sadistic killer whose crimes have cursed the community. You can of course expect branching narratives, loads of moral dilemmas, and a constant sense of dread as you shape the fate of those involved. The casting of Frank Stone really does promise a terrifyingly immersive experience, and if you love games like Until Dawn or even The Quarry, then I have no doubt this will be a must-play experience. A PC exclusive title that launched back in 2022 is getting an Xbox port this week, and if you like zombies, RPGs and a top-down isometric view, then you will definitely need to check this one out. Decision Red Days, as mentioned, is an action RPG with a very unique mix of survival and tower defense mechanics. You will explore an apocalyptic wasteland, build a safe haven, and then lead your team of specialists in a hopeless world, just searching for a cure for the infectious disease that's turning people into different monsters. It has mostly positive reviews over on Steam at the moment, with many saying it doesn't have the intricate sim-like mechanics like Project Zomboid, but what the devs have here is a nice little indie gem that you can spend lots of time playing. It seems great for the ROG Xbox Ally that's coming out rather shortly, so definitely put it on your wishlist if you're interested in that handheld. Bloat is quickly becoming one of those addictive indie gems we'll all lose hours to. It brilliantly fuses multiple genres into one chaotic roguelike experience, so think brick-breaking mayhem, number-spamming madness like in Vampire Survivors, and a dash of base building and survival. Each run lets you experiment with more than 60 randomized balls and over 70 distinct buildings for you to build and place within the ever-evolving city of New Babylon. It's part city builder and part roguelike, and I never thought that would ever be a mix that would work this well. Even better, Bloat will launch day one onto Xbox Game Pass, making it an easy must-try for fans of inventive indie titles. I will be sharing my own full review ahead of its release, but trust me, this is one you certainly won't want to miss. Christmas might be a while away, but the festive fun is already arriving early with the Grinch Christmas Adventures Merry and Mischievous Edition, and it will be joining Xbox Game Pass on the very same day as Bloat. This is actually a refreshed version that dives back into Dr. Seuss's whimsical world, letting players take control of the Grinch as he goes down Mount Crumpet, soars across the snowy skies, and then explores Whoville in all of its festive chaos. There definitely seems to be a little bit more content right out the gate this time, with some more missions, challenges and little outfits, which is, to be honest, quite great to see. Even if it does feel a little bit odd to see Christmas lights flicker before Halloween, this is a nice brand new addition, especially with the lead up to the holiday season occurring very, very soon. I have to say, every single week I do talk about a roguelike experience, and it seems like the genre is getting widely popular and even getting a little bit oversaturated at this moment in time. Well, if you're gagging for another one, then Ember Knights Heroes of the Nexus Edition lands onto Xbox on the 16th of October. The original version of Ember Knights has been out on PC for quite a while now, and is stupidly good and often heavily overlooked. From my own personal experience, the combat here is done really, really well, and the game is remarkably balanced for a roguelike experience. It's just good old and plain old fun to keep it short, and so much so that I've got all the achievements for it over on Steam. Ember Knights Heroes of the Nexus Edition also brings the game to consoles for the very first time, with all of the DLC included, and I highly recommend that you check this one out if you love roguelike adventures. Originally launching on Steam back in 2023, Blood West from New Blood Interactive is making its way to consoles and is making its debut on Xbox this week. The eerie Wild West FPS has also received its DLC expansion, Dead Man's Promise, which will be available upon its launch for consoles, which is great to see. This game has a very great way of blending supernatural horror with classic gunslinger grit, and it's really a great game to dive into if you love boomer shooters. It does cast you as a cursed outlaw fighting to survive in a world tainted by eldritch evil. It heavily draws inspiration from games like Thief, Stalker, and Hunt Showdown, and it's quite clear to see that in terms of the visuals and in terms of its gameplay. If you're interested, it does land onto both of the Xbox Series consoles on the 16th of October. As someone who uses PC Game Pass quite frequently nowadays, PAX Die definitely looks like one of the more ambitious MMO projects that we've seen in recent years. The idea of a social sandbox MMO where world building, crafting, and player-driven stories are at the center rather than combat feels like a refreshing direction for this genre. The medieval inspiration and focus on community-driven gameplay sounds like they'll give PAX Die a really unique atmosphere, and the fact that it is launching straight onto PC Game Pass on the 16th of October is a huge win for all of our subscribers. It'll also be quite interesting to see how the game has evolved since the early access release back in June of 2024, so the 1.0 version should definitely feel a little bit more polished and also balanced. Would you like me to give my review and performance analysis of this game once it drops onto Xbox Game Pass? You'll have to let me know in the comments below. Talking of Xbox Game Pass, I know we've all been suffering with the stupid price hike that is coming into effect as of this November. Well, this isn't sponsored, but I have teamed up with Loaded, formerly known as CD Keys, to get you the best price possible for Xbox Game Pass. Currently, you can grab the 12-month version of Ultimate for £125 here in the UK, or $220 over in the US, which is a massive discount. If you do want to check out the 1, 3, or 12-month offers, do check out the links down below, as it really does help the channel out as I get a small kickback. I do hope this helps all of you Xbox fans who want to get Game Pass cheap before the price rises. But with that, let's get back into the games coming our way for this week. If you've been waiting for the Cabin Factory to come to our Xbox consoles, well, you're in luck, as the game is officially landing onto Xbox only at this time, as it makes its way over from PC. If you aren't familiar with this one, you are a new employee at the Cabin Factory. You'll essentially be inspecting hyper-realistic horror cabins as they come straight off the assembly line, and then determine whether or not the cabin is haunted. The job is simple: expect your life is on the line, and of course, like any horror game, things never go as expected. I did do a little bit of digging, and many on Steam seem to say there's a pretty decent variety of haunts and anomalies in the different cabins, and that they aren't repetitive during the story mode. The game does run around the 2-hour mark though, so it's not a massive experience, but for the low price point, it's a decent looking game. Kaku Ancient Seal is an upcoming open-world action RPG that blends fantasy and prehistoric themes into a rich, atmospheric world. We take on the role of Kaku, a young adventurer who must journey across vast lands, battling powerful elemental beasts, solving ancient mysteries, and restoring harmony to a universe on the verge of collapse. The world looks to be filled with tons of diverse biomes, ancient temples, and magical challenges, creating a deep sense of exploration. It has often been described as a Ubisoft-style open-world game without that Ubisoft formula. Instead, it focuses on meaningful discovery rather than those repetitive objectives. With mostly positive reviews over on Steam at the moment, and a console release this week for both of the Xbox Series X and S consoles, it's really shaping up to be a surprising and rewarding adventure. It does seem as though it's the week for Christmas games, and I really don't understand why we're getting so many of them in October instead of nearer that holiday period. Even so, the Elf on the Shelf Christmas Heroes lands on the 16th, and yes, as you guessed it, is a game about Elf on the Shelf. Having a bit more of a look, it is an Outright Games published title, so it is aimed at a kid-friendly audience. To be honest, it does seem to be a fairly basic platformer with loads of little mini-games and stuff to collect, and I won't lie, it looks pretty naff. I don't really get what the appeal of this game is, but if you do have a kid and they like Elf on the Shelf, it might be worth checking out. Now, Keeper is a game that I've been waiting for since the announcement all the way back at the Xbox Showcase this June, and that's because Double Fine really do make some fantastic experiences. I know this game really won't be for everyone, and that's due to the strange but beautiful aesthetic and the fact it's a game about a sentient lighthouse. From all of the previews and the gameplay snippets so far, it looks bloody gorgeous, and it has us just exploring the world around us and completing loads of different puzzles. Outside of that, not much is really known, but knowing Double Fine, there's going to be a ton of surprises that's in store for us. This one of course does land day one onto Xbox Game Pass on the 17th of October, and I will have my review up very soon, so if you're somewhat intrigued by the first party title, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that video. I've played a ton of Survivors games in recent years, from games like Halls of Torment, Yet Another Zombie Survivors, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, and so many more. But Adrenaline Rampage is catching my attention this week because visually and also gameplay wise, it's looking pretty excellent. From reviews over on PC, it seems to keep that familiar Survivors loop of collecting power-ups, evolving them and spending currency on permanent upgrades, but then flips the formula into a side-scrolling platformer. Even in early access, the reviews over on Steam have been positive due to its smooth, satisfying and surprisingly addictive gameplay loop. I do love a great little indie project, and I might have to check this one out when it lands on the very same day as Xbox's Keeper. In case you missed the news earlier this past week, and if you're a premium Xbox Game Pass member, then there are some fantastic titles that are landing onto your tier that you won't want to miss. On October 15th, you can get access to Eternal Strands, He Is Coming on PC, and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Out of the bunch, Eternal Strands is my personal standout, as it's a stunning new IP from a freshly formed studio that somehow nails a mix of Shadow of the Colossus style enemy encounters with the colourful mythic charm of Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's very imaginative and highly ambitious, and I can't wait to see what the developers make next. These games are already available to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, so if you're on that tier, you can jump in and start playing them right now. So, what game are you excited for this week? You'll have to let me know down below. Do smash that like button as well if you did enjoy this video, and subscribe as I do upload Xbox content like this every single day. Whilst you're here though and you want to check out some more awesome Xbox content, why don't you check out the video on screen now. I covered the massive Xbox update and news that occurred over the past week, and I tell you what, there's a lot of exciting news that did come out that is worth staying tuned for.